Samsung Galaxy S9 first look, a seriously impressive phone, or in need of more upgrades. First impressions. Samsung's Galaxy S9 is a gorgeous device, and it fixes some of the biggest issues I had with the S8, namely, the fingerprint scanner's position and the poor speaker. In reality, this should be the ultimate Android phone. The changes appear minor in some areas, but maybe it's just that we've come to expect too much from annual updates to these super powerful phones. Are there any extras Samsung could have included? A 4K screen would have been nice if unnecessary, and proper 10-bit HDR video recording could have added another skill to the camera. I'm probably most surprised that Samsung didn't try to take on Face ID with an updated iris scanner or improved facial recognition, both of which I've found very hit and miss in the past. The Samsung Galaxy S8 was the best phone of 2017, and I'm confident that the S9 will follow up as one of the most desirable and exciting phones of 2018. Samsung has been the king of the Android phone market for a long time now. But is this set to change in 2018 with the release of its latest Galaxy handset? Does the S9 have enough to beat the Google Pixel 2, iPhone X and iPhone 8? Offering up a beautiful design, top specs, and one of the most interesting camera setups around, on paper at least the S9 has the capabilities to be 2018's Phone of the Year. Scroll down to find out everything you need to know about Samsung's latest flagship. Samsung Galaxy S9 release date and price. Pre-orders for the Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus are now open. Those who pre-order before March 7th will receive their shiny new Galaxy phone ahead of schedule on March 9th. Otherwise, the Galaxy S9 will begin to hit shelves on March 16th. Samsung Galaxy S9 design. With the Galaxy S8, Samsung introduced a shift in phone design that followed through market-wide last year. A big bezel was out, to be replaced by a larger screen that pushed right to the edges. It was a much-needed change in a market where phones had started to feel a bit stale. The Galaxy S9 retains this familiar overall look, which is hardly something to complain about when you consider that, a year on, it's still one of slickest phones around. The S9 sees the bezel thickness above and below the display reduce further. In addition, the fingerprint scanner has been moved to a more suitable location beneath the camera, rather than being tucked tightly beside it. However, it still feels a tad on the small side, and there's noticeable lag as it jumps you to the home screen. The metal and glass body retains its curved display, IP68 water resistance rating and micro SD card slot. The aluminium rim has been strengthened and the Gorilla Glass 5 that coats the screen has been thickened. Hopefully, this will help to reduce instances of cracked screens. The S9 even includes a headphone jack, which is almost a novelty in 2018. Samsung Galaxy S9 screen. Like all of Samsung's recent flagships, the S9's display draws you in instantly with its rich colors and fantastic contrast. It's still a 5.8-inch AMOLED Quad HD end panel, and even though little has changed aside from a slight bump in brightness, it's still one of the best displays I've seen. What impresses most about the screen is the customization options it offers. In its default adaptive mode, colors are saturated and rich, with a dominant blue hue. Personally, I find this slightly too much. Switch to DCI-P3 color gamut covering AMOLED Cinema mode and everything feels easier on the eyes. It's even possible to customize the colors, reducing the amount of blue, green, and red you see. There's full support for HDR10 and the S9 can stream HDR content from sources such as Netflix and Amazon Prime. This provides movies and TV shows with better contrast and enables them to use a wider gamut of colors. Watch a program that features numerous dark scenes, such as Altered Carbon, and you'll notice the difference right away. Samsung Galaxy S9 camera. The biggest area of proposed improvement for the Samsung Galaxy S9 is to the camera. It's the only feature of the Galaxy S9 that genuinely feels new and unique. Instead of having a fixed aperture lens, the S9 can shift between f/2.4 and f/1.5, providing ideal optics for both day and night photography. If it's bright outside, it will shoot at f/2.4, when there's less light available, the lens will widen and utilize f/1.5 to let in more light. If you stick to the default auto mode, then you'll likely never notice the aperture shift, aside from in the results, hopefully, but you'll have more granular control if you switch to Pro. Here you can manually change between the two apertures, while also being able to tinker with exposure and white balance. Software-based variable apertures have featured on phones such as Huawei and Honor before, but they've essentially been bokeh filters that give an artificial look to photos. Images I've captured so far with the S9 Plus do look very good. As is typical with Samsung phones, exposure and white balance are cranked up and colors have a tendency to look more saturated than they should be, but the results are pleasing to the eye and look great on Instagram. Low light shots taken with the f/1.5 option are certainly bright, and it's possible to get superb shots in situations that phone cameras would normally struggle. However, I did find that on occasion a scene would be far too bright, giving a rather unrealistic feel. The camera itself has a 12-megapixel sensor with OIS, fast autofocus, and is accompanied by an app that's easy to use. Video can now be recorded at 4K 60 fps as is possible on the iPhone X or at 960 fps for a short burst. A new AR emoji feature appears to be Samsung's response to Apple's Animoji. These AR faces look a little more like Bitmoji with a human touch than typical emoji, but like Apple's feature, they map your face with the 8-megapixel selfie camera and replicate your movements on screen. In my opinion, this is nothing but a gimmick, which produces pretty creepy looking results. The one slight disappointment with regards to the camera is that the Galaxy S9 Plus is the only one of the duo to receive the secondary telephoto lens first seen on the Note 8. This, along with the live focus capabilities and portrait modes it brings, would have been welcome on the smaller device too. I can see Samsung's thinking here. Apple restricted its dual sensors to the Plus versions of the iPhone. Nevertheless, this changed with the iPhone X, and the Galaxy S9 needs to compete with that. Samsung Galaxy S9 performance and battery life. At the phone's heart will be either a Snapdragon 845 or Exynos 9810, which will change depending on your region. Us Brits will get the latter, accompanied by 4GB of RAM. You can choose between 64GB or 256GB of storage, both expandable via microSD, and there's a 3000 mAh battery inside that can be charged wirelessly or via the USB-C port. Not upping the RAM to 6GB seems a bit odd, especially since my Galaxy S8 has suffered severe slowdown barely a year after launch. Hopefully, the extra power in the new processors will avoid such a situation with the S9. I haven't benchmarked the regular S9 unit yet, but see below for how the S9 Plus scores in Geekbench 4 and An227. For years, my biggest complaint leveled at Samsung phones has been their terrible speakers. The tinny, down-firing mono speaker that sat along the bottom edge of the Galaxy S8 was awful, but that's all changed here. The speaker at the bottom remains, but there's now one at the top too. The audio has been tuned by AKG and supports a form of Dolby Atmos. It's loud, surprisingly detailed, and a huge leap forward. It sounds a lot better than before, but it's still nowhere close to being a Bluetooth speaker replacement.